I don't know about you, but doing text animation in After Effects can be a bit problematic. It does take some time. It does take some clicks and some advanced knowledge to kind of know what you're doing. And if you don't do text animation every day, then it does take some time to kind of get back into it. And that's why I want to introduce you the new tool that I'm currently working on called Smart Animator. Now, if you have seen the last video that I posted on this channel, I talk about all the new tools that I'm currently working on that I find useful. I only create tools that I find useful. If I find myself repeating the same steps over and over or coding the same stuff over and over, I either create a preset, which eventually turns into a script. So preset or script, that's something I usually end up with. And trust me, that saves me a lot of time. And then I can go home and actually go and see my kids. I know. Well, this is one of those tools. It's called Smart Animator, and it will help you to save up a lot of wasted time that it takes to click and drag and move to create something like a simple text animation. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me minimize myself here. Right here. Okay. So let's say you have some kind of a text animation in After Effects. Let's create a new text. Creative Cloud, Premiere Rush, Beta was updated. Nice. Thank you, Adobe. All right, so let's type something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good. So we have some kind of a text, and let's say we want to animate it. How would we do that in After Effects using the native tools in After Effects? Well, you would just go to here, maybe go to Animate. We're going to animate the position, maybe add another property like opacity. So that's good. Then that's something you would have to know advanced. You'd be like, hey, I need to go to range selector here and then advanced. And in here, I can either say, hey, let's do it based on like characters or maybe words. That's good. Words is good. And shape, it's kind of, if you didn't know what this one does, you're kind of stuck, but I know what I'm doing here. So I would say, hey, I want ramp up. And then now we have easing here. So I can say ease high. Let's do something like 85, ease low 100. And you can say, hey, randomize order if you want to do that. So that's a pretty good setup. Then you would go to offset here, which naturally you wouldn't think to animate offset, but because of the setup that I have, that's what you got to do. Set a keyframe for like right here, maybe go down like 30 frames or something like that. And maybe take it to 100. So now we have like a simple animation right here, but obviously nothing is happening right now because both of ours like position and opacity is set to 0. So here you would decide, hey, maybe I want to animate the X position here, starting at 300. So now it's going to animate like that. Maybe start like at 500. I don't know, something like that might work. Okay, that's good. Then you would go to opacity, take it down to 0 because you want for it to start at 0. So essentially these are like the starting point. So now you have something like that. That's pretty good. Then you would want to animate this out. So then you would create another like maybe animator in here and you would do the same thing. And trust me, it takes a lot of energy. And by the time you're just done setting things up, you would probably be exhausted and not very motivated. And then I'm only talking about one layer, but what if, hypothetically speaking, and trust me, this is not too far-fetched, what if you had like 100 text layers to animate and, you know, something like that? Maybe you have something like this. This is only 5, but imagine 100. And let's say you've animated already, maybe you duplicated it and it does the same thing, something like that. But what if you want to go back and change stuff up? That can take you a long time. So then you have to go here and blah, 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 and change it. And in other words, it can be very painful. But what if right now it's animating like from like starting at this letter, but what if you want to reverse the order? And it's kind of tricky. You have to go and do certain things. And if you have 2 of them, and yeah, I hope you see how many clicks it takes, how much time it takes to set something like this up. And I'm only talking about the setup of like in animation, but then you have to set up the out animation. And then if you need to go back and change stuff and move the keyframes. And let me show you my new script here that will save you time. Let me show you what it does. So this new script uses the same tools I just used to create, but it saves you time. So let's do the same thing. Let's create the same text, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And this time, let's do something like 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do something like this and maybe duplicate quite a bit of them so that you can see how fast this thing is. Okay. So like that. So how long it would take to animate all of them using the traditional way? Obviously, it would take a long time. But watch, let's say I wanted to create similar animation I just created, but using this new script. So let me show you. All you have to do is just select all of them and then go to Smart Animator. And in here, I'm going to go to, like we have all the properties in here. So I'm going to go to position. I'm going to say on the X, let's do something like, what is it? I think we did 500. And then so it's coming in. So coming in right here is going to be 500. So it's going to do come in and stay. But then as it leaves, I want for it to be negative 500. In other words, I want for it to leave to the left, right? Okay, so that's good. Then opacity, let's go opacity. That's good. And you can adjust easing. So right here, easing, I'll talk about here in a second. So once you've done all the things you wanted to do, then you would just, select your layers and press on this apply button. Boom, it applies it. And almost instantly you have something like this. And as you can see, it will animate out, do all kinds of stuff. All of them are animating out and you can spread them out. And this thing animates based on in and out points. So let's say you wanted to extend this. Well, it's still going to animate in and then it's going to animate out based on where the time or the out point is. So you can quickly adjust things. And as this one animates out, the next one comes in, you can bring it closer. But the beautiful thing about this, you can select all of them and you say, hey, I want to adjust, let's do scale. Maybe I want for it to scale on X and Y, maybe 0 on both of them. Okay, apply. And then now all of them are going to, well, they're kind of overlapping too much. Let me kind of spread them out a bit more. So we need to give it a bit of a gap here. So something like that, maybe good. All right. So let's see now, like that one goes away, this one goes in. Anyway, the sky's the limit what you can do with this. And this tool basically allows you to be creative. You can quickly try something different. So for example, instead of that, I can say, hey, let's reset everything. So I can reset all of them. Now, if I have all selected, right now, if I don't have it selected, so right now, as you can see, it's not selected. If I had reset, it's only going to reset the position. But we have all the other ones that I want to reset. So for that, I would press all, and then I would reset it. It would reset everything to 0. So let's say I want this one to come in from the bottom. So 150 and go up to 150, negative 150, and press apply. Boom. And instantly, all of them are going to do this animation right here. Boom, it goes away. Obviously, we need to go to opacity and take it down to 0. Apply. And there you go. You have something interesting. Stays on. The other one comes on. And again, it's based on in and out points, so you can stretch it out if you want certain things to stay on longer. And what if, let's say, this one right here could be maybe like a very long text. Well, let me do a better version. You want to do some kind of gaps as well. Whoops, that's way too much. Let's tone it down some. All right, so we have a couple lines, and maybe we can center the anchor point. All right, so as you can see, it animates the lines. But the other thing about this animator, it has more options. So you can, right now, maybe it's too fast, right? Because we have a lot of different stuff. So you can slow it down. You can go over here to duration and can say, hey, let's take it 2 seconds to animate in and maybe 2 seconds to animate out. And so now it's going to take from here 2 seconds and from here 2 seconds to animate out. So it's going to animate in a bit slower this time. And you can even adjust easing. You can say, hey, have no easing as it starts animating in. So watch this. So right now it's going to snap right into, it's going to be basically slowly arriving. So I can reverse that. I can say, hey, have a smooth beginning, but then rigid arrival. Boom, it's going to do that as well. So right now, watch this. It's going to kind of snap. So maybe you want something like that, but I don't. So I'm going to say, let's do 85. Apply. So yeah, this one kind of snaps in. Maybe you can bring it in closer. As this one animate out, you can kind of play with it. So anyway, you can definitely play with all of these settings. You can go to like the scale, rotate, or the skew too. So maybe let's try this. Let's reset everything and just play with the skew here. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe opposite direction. So this one kind of skews in. Maybe we can go to position and go to like 300 here. negative 300, and opacity, set it to 0. And let's see what that looks like. Yeah. Anyway, you can get creative with these, but I just want to show you how easy it is to animate. And the cool thing about this, we also have buttons in here. So for example, I can select all of this and I can say, hey, select motion blur for all of them. You can just do it from here. Boom, all of them set. You can say undo it. You can make it 3D, boom. And then they are all 3D text. So now there is 3D text right here. You can have like the actual 3D coordinates here. You can do the rotation. Let's do that actually right now. Let's reset all of them and let's apply rotation. Maybe let's do negative or like 90 to negative 90, apply. And now it should kind of flip, maybe go to opacity. Anyway, you can play with this tool all day long and get something interesting on the fly and get something you like without doing all the clicking. I definitely see the value in this, and I hope you guys do as well. I mean, you can play with the rotation like this, and maybe you can even add position to it. You can say maybe start at like 100 and go to negative 100 on the Y and apply. And I also created these buttons so you can do more like I don't know, you could just click like this incrementally. That might be helpful for some. So so now you can create something interesting. So now it kind of flips in, flips out, and then the other flips in. If you bring it closer, maybe you can get like a better looking effect. So it kind of like flips into something else. Anyway, that's probably very useful. All right, well, you can also delete all of them. So again, you hit delete and then it basically undoes everything. Everything that you've applied on it, it deletes it and you're starting back from scratch. That's something else someone requested in the previous video, which I find it very useful. And let's see something else I wanted to show you guys. Blur. So blur is kind of cool because you can say, hey, let's start at 100 on X on both, in and out, apply it. And now it's going to apply this. So let me bring this up. So something like this, it kind of blurs. Let me reset everything. Yeah, only blur. Let's do only blur. Boom. You want to make sure you select everything. All right, here we go. So now it kind of blur. Let's do opacity as well. So yeah, it kind of blurs that stuff in. I don't know if you want to go for something like that. That can be useful. Maybe you can push it on position. You can say, hey, let's do 300 on that. And let's see what that looks like. You get the idea. It kind of like gives a fake motion blur. Now, you can also do it based on, like we talked about duration. Let's talk about based on. You can do it based on characters. Maybe for the end, when you hit apply, it's going to only animate everything at the beginning with like letters only, and then leave as a word, and then comes in as a letter. You can do that. You can do lines. I mean, sky's the limit what you can do with this. Just hit apply. And yeah, now both leave with characters. So yeah, that's a useful one. And now this one, let's talk about this for a second. So notice with this right here, it animates in starting like at the top left. But what if I want for it to be reversed? For example, let's see, let me duplicate this. Let me show you like a different example here. So what if this one was reversed? Let's do the order. The out animation was reversed for this layer. Okay. By the way, you can change it all. You can select one at a time and change it quickly in here without, going down and stuff. So it's definitely helpful. So something like that. Let's talk about it. So let's say, what if this one leaves starting with that, right? Let's say it leaves starting with that, and maybe it goes in the opposite direction. No, let's go starting with that. And this one is coming in at the top. Sometimes you want to reverse it. So let me kind of back it up a little bit. It's still too much. So it kind of like touches it too much. Well, then you would go over here, go to order, and then you can reverse the in. You can say, hey, instead of coming in at the top, let's reverse that. And now it's going to come in at the bottom. Make sure you hit apply. Yeah, there you go. So now the other one comes in at the bottom and not the top. So you can do the same here. See right now, if I reverse it, it will start leaving. I'm not sure why you would animate it like this, but maybe in some cases you want to reverse which letter it starts with. That comes in very handy. Sometimes you want to randomize it. So you can say, hey, give me a random animation in, apply it. And now let's see what it looks like. It just will randomly kind of show up. Yeah, very, very handy. And let me make it not 3D because that's what's slowing it down a bit. All right, so you get the idea here. You can change things on the fly for sure. But let me show you one feature that I absolutely love. So let's say you have, let me kind of, start over again. Let's go to position. Let's do like a simple 150 on the Y, negative 150. And let's go to opacity maybe. Let's take that down. Maybe blur on the Y. Let's do like, well, let's go all the way to 100. So we have, let's say we have this kind of animation and then it kind of goes away. Okay, let me zoom in here. So what if I have the same text or maybe a bunch of other text? Oh, let me do this. Hold on a second. I deleted something. All right, let me delete this. So this one doesn't have any text animations, but this one does. And let's say I reset all the settings for this one that it took to create this animation, right? What if I wanted to take this animation and copy all the settings and apply it in here so I can reapply it to this one? Well, it's pretty simple. So you select this, you can either select all or don't, but then you have these two buttons. So whatever stuff you have clicked in here, everything is obviously set to 0, but right now if I select this, I can say, hey, copy the in properties, all in properties for this layer. So when I select it and click on in, it will copy all of those options that I have. Now, because I have all selected, it will do that for all of them. But if I didn't, it would only do for that one property that I was in, like position or something like that. So let's do the same thing for, well, let's do just in for right now. So if I select this and apply the in property, it will have the same in property as it is here. So you can see it kind of comes in like this. And then we have out, but we haven't applied out yet. So we have in, but no out, right? So then I can select this one and say, hey, let's copy out as well. And let's apply it to this one. Boom. And then it applies it. So anyway, very useful features in here. Again, these are just to copy and these are to reset, and everything is kind of nice. In this drop-down menu, you can play with the skew, all of these, the based on, order, and this, it's the whole concept of like in animation is on the left side and out is on the right side. And that's where I'm at with this tool. I'm still adding some more features. I did want to add like 2 buttons in here, maybe to, for example, if you're altering this stuff, maybe you can have a button here that when you click it, it's like an arrow pointing towards this one. Then it will take everything in here and maybe like paste it to here, or you can have a button that does the same thing, but from here to that, you can click it, boom, and it kind of pastes it, copies it and pastes it in here. So maybe that's useful. I'm also thinking about adding like the save default settings. Maybe you have certain settings that you like to keep, and you can go to settings and maybe save the settings, default settings, and it will kind of keep it. So I'm still thinking of features to add. If you watching this wanted to add anything else to it, definitely let me know in the comments below. But as of right now, here's where I'm at with this smart animator. I find it very useful. For the longest time, I had this kind of set up as a preset. Well, I decided to take it a step further and create a script out of it, and I'm enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun. I like animating it. I love the speed of it and how everything is just in one place. You don't have to get lost in all those properties and stuff. And again, it's using the same native tools that After Effects has. So you don't even have to use this one. Once you applied it, then you can go here and change, like for example, scale. So you can change it in here, and then now it's going to play with the scale. You can go to, position. And you can change the position. Maybe instead of down, you can say 300 on the right and negative 300 on the left. So now it's going to go side to side. So you can keep adjusting it in here. I mean, you can use all of this in Mogurts and stuff like that. And if for some reason you want to get rid of it, you just delete it, boom, and everything is erased. For example, we have this one has the pseudo effect, all the options we talked about, but also it has all these different animators that it created. So, but when you hit delete, it will delete everything and leave it blank. So for some of you, that's a peace of mind because you don't want to delete the layer and start over again. So I find this tool very helpful. You guys let me know in the comments below what you think about it. I'm still working on it. It's still in beta. I'm hoping to get all of the tools out at once here shortly. It's so hard for me to just kind of finish something. Then all of a sudden I have another feature I want to add, and it just keeps going. But I do like working in batches. I like that I'm working on all of them at once because I try to stay consistent. If I add something to one, I can kind of add it to all the other ones. So it's kind of nice to have that consistency, and they all have similar look, similar feel. So if you know how to use one tool, it kind of makes it easier to adapt to the next tool and so on, because they're consistent. They're created by me, so they're all kind of consistent in that way. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, like it. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll try to create more videos updating on all the other tools. But also be sure to join our mentoring group on Facebook. It's totally free. We have like 6,000 plus people. And those people are amazing. They're kind. They're very talented. I mean, a lot of them are like giants of this industry. And keep in mind that this is a mentoring group, which is designed to help other people. Like, we have people in this group that are not only willing to help, but they're wanting to help. They're there to help or to get helped. So it's a great spirit. There isn't like a stupid question. Everyone is basically, learning is encouraged in a heavy way. And it's definitely the love and all of that is felt. So definitely join. It's at ukramedia.com/community. Everything I'm talking about will be included in links below this video, so check it out. But in the meantime, my name is Sergey Proknevsky, and I'll talk to you guys next time.